there's more stuff we can't do on Shabbat? I thought that list was pretty long as it is. I thought you were the fun rabbi. I expect you to tell us to get in the car on Shabbat and drive to the beach to a bonfire and make s'mores out of bacon. Chas v'shalom. Greetings, Hero Desire, your friendly neighborhood rabbi, and I am here today to talk about Shabbat, specifically 4 things that you should not do on the traditional Jewish Sabbath, besides the usual stuff you shouldn't do on a traditional Jewish Sabbath. But real quick, before we begin, if you are just finding one of my videos for the first time, I'd like to suggest that you subscribe to this channel. That way you can see all the videos that I make without having to work too hard. Just get that right on your phone. Want to make it even easier? If you see a little picture of a bell, ring it. Ba-ding! If you ring my bell, I'll ring yours. And it's nothing dirty. If you click on the little icon of the bell, you will get notified right in your pocket every time I make a new video. That way you won't miss a single one, or you'll know about every single one and you miss what you like. You do you. But for right now, we're going to talk about Shabbat. This is the traditional Jewish day of rest. The English word Sabbath comes from this, and it's something Jews around the world observe from sundown on Friday until sundown on Saturday. And what's the most important thing to do that day? It's rest. We don't work at our occupations. We don't do things that look kind of sort of like work. We don't transact business. We generally avoid changing the way the world already is. And instead, we use that time to study Torah, to build relationships with family. We get together to eat, sing, pray. We take hardcore naps, yo. But the only way that all that stuff is possible is if we put restrictions on our behavior. This comes from the book of Deuteronomy, where it says, Shamor et Yom HaShabbat. That is, protect the Sabbath day. And we protect it by having a long list of things we're not allowed to do, so that we can do the fun stuff. I hate to tell you this, I think this list is a little bit short, and I came up with 4 new things that belong on that list. And because as I'm filming this, the sun's going down and I'm counting down the minutes toward Shabbat, we're gonna count this down. So the number 4 thing you should not do on Shabbat is be hard on yourself. I talked to a lot of students who did not grow up with this practice of a traditional day of rest, and so they're adding things to their life as adults, whether it's positive things that they're doing, like going to a synagogue, studying Torah, making a big dinner on Friday, hanging out with friends. Maybe they're not used to doing that. I don't know. It's just cellular phones, or they're not used to restricting their behavior. They're not used to staying at home or going to shul, but not going to the mall, which sucks. I hate going to the mall. It's my favorite thing about Shabbat is not going to the mall. It's the parking. But as people are adding these practices to their lives, they're like, oops, I did it wrong, or I lit the candles 4 seconds late, or my phone pinged and I looked at it and I wasn't going to, and I ruined Shabbat for everybody. Hashem is so angry with me. And I'm not making this up. Like, people seriously get down about this. And I'm here to tell you, this is a new rule. John told you, don't be so hard on yourself. Seriously, Shabbat was not created so that you would suffer. You try your best, you do what you can. If you have an oopsie, you get another Shabbat next week. And the week after that, God willing, many more Shabbats to go. I wish you good health. As it turns out, Shabbat is literally 1/7 of the rest of your life. You have time to get better. Don't be so hard on yourself. Number 3, thou shalt not judge other people's Shabbat practices. You may have a certain way that you do Shabbat, and then a friend invites you over for Shabbat lunch or Shabbat dinner, or for you to go to synagogue with them or something, and then you see how they do it, and you're like, dag, yo, that guy is way stricter than I am. That is crazy. He is overdoing it. Or, dag, yo, that gal is not nearly strict enough. They don't do Shabbat like I do. Somebody upstairs must love me more than them. That's silly talk. If you're gonna follow the rule of not being so hard on yourself, you gotta follow the rule of not being so hard on other people. While we have norms and standards and traditional practices, every single person gets to decide for themselves what they are going to do for Shabbat, how strict they are going to be, what compromises they're going to make based on the community that they're in and the family that they have to get along with. That is their Shabbat, and you can visit with them and observe and maybe learn something. Maybe they do something you like and you'd like to try that. Again, you get a bunch of these left. So if you're with somebody else and they're practicing Shabbat differently from you, go into that with an open mind, be willing to learn from them, but you absolutely are not allowed to judge them. Number 2, thou shalt not try to do it all at once. If you're doing what I did and you're taking on the practice of Shabbat as an adult and you look at all the rules and regulations and restrictions and stuff, you could be overwhelmed. Remember, a lot of the law codes and things like that were written by people who did it their whole lives and just grew up in it. And having a different way to live during Shabbat was something that they could do before they could talk. And what I found with my students here in Burbank and elsewhere, the surest way to make sure that you do not successfully adopt the Shabbat practice is to try to do everything at once. Try to get dinner right, lunch right, shalasudis. Did you know that was a thing? Don't try to do it all at once. Don't go to the mall. Don't subject yourself to terrible parking at the mall. Don't transact business. Don't touch a light switch. Okay, maybe you can do it with your elbow. That's a thing. Ask your rabbi. No tearing toilet paper? Really? Yes, really, that's how some people do. My point is there is a lot to it, and you're going to figure out what works for you in what order, but do not try to do it all at once or you will get overwhelmed and you will spoil Shabbat for yourself and you'll just lose it for a lifetime. Take baby steps, hero. Do it little by little. Add a new thing maybe every week or every other week. And if you do it that way, I guarantee you're much more likely to be successful in adding the beauty of Shabbat to your life. And the number one lo taseh, negative commandment, thou shalt not give up. Seriously, you might hear how wonderful Shabbat is in somebody's life and you try it and it drives you bananas not looking at your phone. Or you're doing fine not looking at your phone, but then you keep getting pinged by your boss and that boss wants to yell at you. You might be like, Shabbat's just not for me. I'm going to have to get a new job. I'm going to have to move to a new town closer to a synagogue. I'm going to have to make all new friends. Don't go to those places of like always and never and must and impossible. Just try again next week. Do something a little bit different. Learn as you go. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from your successes. But above all, keep returning to it every single week. And if you don't give up, I promise you this can be a profound life-changing thing to celebrate Shabbat with your family, with your friends, even by yourself. I talk to people who are like the only Jew in their town or in their community. They don't have a synagogue to go to. They don't have friends to do this, or their kids don't want to do it because it's like, oh, look who's the PlayStation police now. Seriously, do not give up. Start where you are with what you have and keep going little by little, as long as you're not too hard on yourself, as long as you're not judging other people, as long as you're not trying to do everything at once, and you don't give up. Shabbat is going to have a profound effect on your life. I have total faith in that. And I have total faith in you, hero. Not to mention gratitude for watching this whole dadgum video. If you'd like to see more of these videos, make sure you mash my face. That is, click on the picture of my face to subscribe to this channel. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to watch another video on this channel, but probably the best thing you could do is click on this little blue square down here. I'm doing live webinars now on how to make the most of this God-given day of rest, and I'd like to see you at the next one. Until then, hero, peace.